What's up guys, it's Zach and welcome back to my channel. I'm home! Not really, I'm actually in front of a green screen, as you can see. So, I'm gonna try this green screen thing out and hopefully it looks good. Hopefully you guys can't really tell too much that I'm in front of a green screen, but without any further ado, we're actually going to be doing something really interesting today. Now, recently on Twitter, I've been seeing people do this this favorite games little chart thingy. They've been filling it in, putting certain games in certain spots, and I thought it was really, really interesting. And at first, I was just going to post it onto Twitter and then, you know, like, just do that. But I thought it'd be really, really cool to actually do it for you guys and record a video of it. So, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All the stuff down below if you haven't. And yeah, so without any further ado, let's get into it. We're actually going to work from the bottom up here. So we're going to start off with not usually my thing, and that slot has to go to Tales of Symphonia. Now, Tales of Symphonia is a game, it's an RPG, hence why I put this here. You know, I'm usually not an RPG guy, but I really thought this was an interesting game. It's an action RPG, which I tend to like more than the turn-based ones. I like the characters, I like the story. There's just a lot to it that I usually like don't get from RPGs, and I don't know what it is. I guess I just like the vibe of it. It's just overall a fun game. I guess this could also go to Golden Sun, but I'm definitely more into the Tales series than I am the Golden Sun series. So either way, yes, Tales of Symphonia has definitely got to be up there. Next up is my indie pick. What is my indie pick? Well, that has got to go to 60 Seconds. 60 Seconds is a post-apocalyptic survival game where you're surviving as a family of 4 in a bunker. You have limited supplies you have to work with, you have to go out and scavenge every now and again, and it's really a cute game. Obviously, it's based on the Cold War era of American history, so it's got a little bit of that history element in there, but not too much. And overall, it's just a really, really fun time. I highly recommend it. It's like $10 on the eShop. And the sequel, 60 Parsecs, is just as good. So get whichever one you feel more comfortable or wanting to buy, whether it be the hiding in the bunker underground or being in outer space. Completely up to you. Next up is favorite active franchise. And I really had a hard time with this one because there's no franchise that's active right now that I could say that I really, really love. It's really, really hard, you know, an active one at that. So I'm going to have to give the award to Luigis Mansion. Obviously, you know, I didn't care for 3 that much, and I did not really like 2, but I still get excited whenever a new entry is announced, so I guess I might as well put it here in this spot, being my favorite franchise, active franchise. Next up is the most depressing game. This is an interesting topic to have here, but nonetheless, that has definitely, by yards and hops and bounds, has got to go to This War of Mine. This War of Mine is like 60 Seconds in the fact that it's a post-apocalyptic game where you're surviving based on the materials you have. The difference is that this is a lot bigger than 60 Seconds. You actually go out to scavenge and gather supplies, your characters could die, and there's really a high emotional rate. It's a very more involved and even, like, I'd say mature 60 Seconds. And I really, really like what This War of Mine does, and I really hope they do more with it. There's also a DLC that adds kids in, so you have to manage children and all that, and that makes it even more, you know, like you really get yourself attached to these characters, and when they die or when one of them betrays you, you really feel an emotional tug, and that's why I put this as the most depressing game. Next up is Criminally Overlooked, and that also is going to go to This War of Mine. I hardly ever see anyone talk about this game. It's absolutely amazing. It's on PC and Nintendo Switch, and it might be on the other consoles as well. I don't know, but it's an amazing game, and I really hope you guys go and check it out. It's pretty cheap on the eShop, but there's also a physical release that you can get in stores, and yeah, it's a super good game. I honestly highly recommend it. So the quote-unquote not the best but having fun game, I gave that to SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated because of the fact that yes, I do have a lot of issues with the Switch version, as you know, but I still had a good time with it. I still liked it, you know. I just hope they polish it up soon. But, you know, it is a game that I did have fun with regardless of the issues. I'm just really mad at THQ Nordic for not addressing those issues. But regardless, yes, Rehydrated is definitely my game that I was having fun with even if I wasn't completely enjoying myself. Next up is the Back in the Day game. Now this one I had a lot of trouble thinking of because I'm like, okay, how do I define this? Is it a game I played a lot in the past, or is it a game I haven't really played a lot since before? And I really got thinking about it on what game really stood out to me that I played when I was younger that I don't really play at all nowadays. And that has got to go to Call of Duty Black Ops the original, mostly for the zombies mode. Now, Call of Duty Black Ops 1, I absolutely loved it, still love it to this day. It's just that I can get the zombies maps that I like on Black Ops 3, so I really don't, want or need, I should say, to go back to the original Black Ops now that there's a new, or newer version of these maps that I loved in Black Ops, and there's even more of them now. So I really do miss Black Ops 1, but given that, times have moved on, the graphics gotten better, and the maps are brought to the present in terms of graphics and all that, yeah, I'm definitely going to stick to the present for this one. Biggest letdown. Now, of course, people might think I'd put Rehydrated here, but the only reason I'm not putting it here is because Rehydrated is good on other platforms. So, personally, I'm going to put Luigis Mansion 3 here. Luigis Mansion 3 had all the potential to really impress me. With it being on a home console for the first time since the original, the HD graphics, even the game potential to look amazing, it's just that this game just did not deliver on so many different things for me. If you want to know a lot more, then you can watch my Luigis Mansion 3 videos in the past, or particularly watch the last one I did. But nonetheless, it is really unfortunate that Luigi's Mansion 3 did not really appeal to me almost at all. And yeah, so Luigi's Mansion 3 gets that spot. After work relaxation. Now, I usually don't play video games after I'm done with work or after I'm done with classes, so I kind of just am thinking, what game do I play if I want to relax, if I want to de-stress and just, kind of wind down? And that's got to go to the original Battle for Bikini Bottom. The original Battle for Bikini Bottom is such a great game, and it's such a relaxing game to play. The art style is relatively subtle, so it's not too bright and hurt your eyes. It's just overall a really fun platformer, as you guys know, and it is definitely my personal quote-unquote after-work relaxation. Next up is protagonist, and for those of you who don't know what that word means, it means main character. Now, I really had trouble thinking of this one because I really wanted to emphasize that I wanted this character to be an actual character. So things like Luigi, to me, didn't really work because I really don't feel like Luigi's a really full-fledged character. He's just kind of a goofy plumber who sucks up ghosts. And I didn't count SpongeBob because I think that'd be cheap to count a TV show character as my favorite video game character. So, my favorite character is going to be a really interesting pick that some of you might not agree with or understand, and that is Sam from Until Dawn. Now, Until Dawn is one of my favorite storytelling games. It's got a really interesting story, your choices matter, and it's got a really engaging cast of characters. Yes, most of them are stereotypical, high school characters from your typical teen drama high school movie. But Sam is a little bit different. Sam's, of course, that very, almost stoner kind of green girl, but she's definitely not a high school stereotype, and I really appreciated that. She's fun, she's optimistic, and she's overall a great character to get to know. Really, when I had her character die in my first playthrough of Until Dawn, I was actually emotionally upset. I was actually upset that I killed off a character that I liked. So that is a true instance and true testament to how great her character is. So definitely has to go to Sam from Until Dawn. Best Bad Day Cure. Now there's so many games that could fall into this one, but I'm thinking, okay, I'm having a bad day, what game would I pick up and play? And the choice actually started to become really clear, and that is Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead is an arcadey shooter zombie game, and it's a lot of fun, especially if you have friends to play with. I've actually been playing this a little bit with CC Media and my friends Hannah and George separately, and it's been a fun time. If I'm having a bad day, I can kind of de-stress, play some Left 4 Dead, and it's just overall a really fun time, and I absolutely love playing it. I definitely would like to play it more, and I definitely like to play it more for the channel before Back 4 Blood comes out, so definitely stay tuned for some Left 4 Dead videos coming to the channel, and should be really, really exciting. Next up is That Atmosphere. Now, I feel like a lot of people think I'm going to put Luigi's Mansion here, but I'm not. I'm actually going to put a game that I've only been playing a lot recently, and that has got to be Phasmaphobia. Phasmaphobia oozes atmosphere. From the sounds that happen as soon as you walk into the door, the sounds of doors opening and closing, phones ringing in the distance, the hunting mode, the footsteps, everything is so perfect, and it really creates a mood where you don't feel safe even if you are safe. It's a great show of what atmosphere could be like in a game, and it's just so good. I love this game. I've been loving playing it. Cannot wait to play more of it for the channel. Game you always come back to. I think this one's quite obvious. It's Luigi's Mansion. Luigi's Mansion I usually play at least once a year. I absolutely love going back to play it, and it's just such a fun time. It's a short and sweet experience, so it doesn't overstay its welcome, but it really leaves an impact, at least on me, just because of how fun the gameplay is, how surreal the environments are, how great the game looks, and it's just overall an absolutely amazing experience. So yes, Luigi's Mansion 1 is definitely the game I always personally come back to. This is probably the most interesting category here, but why do I like this? A game that I just don't understand why I like it. And this is a really interesting pick because I don't think I've ever really talked about this game on the channel before. And that's Shark Tale. Now, Shark Tale was a really bad movie from back in the mid-2000s with Will Smith and Jack Black and all that. But I actually rather liked the game. The gameplay was really, really cool. You know, it was pretty unique. It was like a 2.5D adventure game. I really liked the shark chasing sequences. There were a few stealth missions. There's a lot of variety there. It's just overall quite a good game. I actually recommend it. Even if you did not like the Shark Tale movie at all, you probably will at least like the game. And it's, you know, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's absolutely amazing. Overrated. Oh, this one was so easy. It was the first one I actually did. And that's Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Listen, I am not going to deny that this game has a legacy. This game has an amazing legacy behind it. You know, it's the first big Zelda adventure game in 3D, and it's super amazing, but I definitely think it's overrated. I mean, look, I like Majora's Mask more, you know, because there's a little more of an atmosphere. There's a little more... It feels like you're more pressed for time. There's a lot more Majora's Mask, at least for what I like, than Ocarina of Time. I did a whole video about that a while ago, but nonetheless, I definitely think that Ocarina of Time is quite overrated. Underrated title. Now that has got to go to SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. Now, some people on this channel might not think it's underrated, but when you think of the grand scheme of things in the gaming landscape, it's definitely underrated. You know, when you think of the GameCube and PS2 and Xbox, most people think of the big titles from their first-party companies, like Mario and Halo, Grand Theft Auto, all those kind of big titles. But SpongeBob is one of those games that people are like, yeah, I played it when I was a kid and I liked it, but don't really say much more. So I definitely think that Battle for Bikini Bottom, the original, is definitely an underrated title. Alright, here's where the controversy starts. A game I hate that everyone else seems to like. That's got to be Luigi's Mansion 3. Again, I know since a lot of you are, subscribers to the channel, you might have similar opinions to Luigi's Mansion 3 that I do, but it's safe to say that Luigi's Mansion 3 was the best received of the Luigi's Mansion trilogy, probably because there were a lot of players that never played Luigi's Mansion before that played Luigi's Mansion on the Switch, so it's definitely a game that lots of people liked. But being that I'm a Luigi's Mansion veteran, I've been playing Luigi's Mansion for like 15 years, I just got so used to that first game's formula, and even think that the second game did better than the third game. It just... listen, you guys, I don't actually hate the game, but I really just hate... I just hate that I didn't love it. I guess that's the best way to put it. I hate that I didn't love it, and it's really unfortunate, but nonetheless, yeah, Luigi's Mansion 3 has got to be there. Now, a game I like that everyone else hates, and that's Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, and I guess Part 2 can be slid in there. People hated these games because they went for like a third-person shooter approach, but I think it made sense given that the games are both relatively battle-heavy. And, it's not an adventure game like the old games were. It's not very open world. It's pretty linear, all things considered. But I think it works for what the actual Harry Potter stories are. And I really like that. And there are even things in the video game that really draw emphasis from the book that the movies don't. So I think it's really, really interesting that these games are so hated, even though I think they make sense given what the stories are about. So yeah, Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 1, definitely a game that I like, but not many other people do. Best Combat. Now I actually really had a hard time with this one, but I'm going to have to give it to Luigi's Mansion 1. Luigi's Mansion 1, in my opinion, had the best combat in basically any game I ever played. It's really simple. You flash a flashlight and you start to vacuum them in. There's no weird meter or slam mechanic to really oversimplify battles. It's overall a really good overall system, and you really have to make sure you avoid other ghosts coming after you. It's just great combat, in my personal opinion. I know other people might disagree, but in my opinion, Luigi's Mansion 1 has definitely got the best combat. Big personal impact. Now, I feel like this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but this one's going to Left 4 Dead. Now, Left 4 Dead, obviously, as you guys know, I played a lot when I was younger, and it's my bad mood cure. You know, I play it and I'm automatically happy, just because I really grew up with this game, and I always loved it. It was a game that always cheered me up, a game that I was able to play and just kind of get enjoyment out of it, even if I was in a bad mood. And I really love that about Left 4 Dead, and obviously that goes for Left 4 Dead 2 as well. And it's just overall a game that really means a lot to me. It's not like one of those games with a big impactful story, but it's impacted my life just because of how fun it is and how it can bring me and certain friends together. So yeah, Left 4 Dead definitely falls there. The I'll finish it someday game, that's easy. That's Paper Mario the Origami King. I just stopped playing it because of how bored I got with its gameplay. I'm sorry, I could not get into it. I really disliked it. And I was going to put this in the you hate but everyone likes category, but I think this game is still pretty divisive among fans. So I definitely did not love this game. Maybe I'll go back one day and complete it. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Favorite art style. I was originally going to give this to the Mario & Luigi RPG series, but I actually got thinking there is one other game that I think has an amazing art style, and that is Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. I love the visual style of Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. There's so much there. You know, the creepy looking characters. Deku Link always scared the absolute fudge out of me. And just overall a beautiful game. The moon coming in towards you. Just overall artistically, I think it's a masterpiece artistically. And that says a lot because I love the way games look. I love art styles and different directions and unique styles and directions they go in. And this is definitely a game that nailed its art style, and I really like it. Best story, boy, people are going to disagree with me on this one, mostly because I usually don't play games that have these really big and expansive stories, but anyways, I've got to give it to Until Dawn. Until Dawn is one of the main storytelling games I like to play just because it's not too long of an experience that drags itself out. It's pretty, concise and gets to the point. Yes, some of the characters are a bit stereotypical, but I do love how the story evolves and how your choices really do seem to matter and impact the actual story. There are some subtle tweaks I'd make to improve the overall story as a whole, but I still think that Until Dawn has an amazing story that is not to be overlooked. And of course, the story has just not been good in the games like Man of Medan or A Little Hope. I mean, they've been good in those two games. I'd put them up there with Until Dawn, but Until Dawn just did it so perfectly, and the ending was satisfying, unlike the other two games. And lastly, my favorite game of all time. You guys already know this one, so I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. It's Luigi's Mansion. Luigi's Mansion, as you guys know, is my favorite game of all time. It offers the appropriate amount of spooks for what it's trying to be. The realistic mansion goes at odds with what Luigi is as a cartoon character, and it's a shame Nintendo's never visited this style again. And people say, oh, it's because, Luigi's Mansion should be a cartoon because Mario's a cartoon game. Okay, then places like New Donk City shouldn't exist if that's the case, okay? Luigi's Mansion 1 absolutely nailed everything it was trying to do. Yes, there are some downsides, like the game being short, the boo capturing sucks, but that stuff would obviously be fixed later on, in the series, and it's just overall, in my opinion, my favorite game of all time. So, what do you guys think? What would you guys put into all of these categories? Let me know down in the comments down below. And thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, all that stuff down below. Click on the notification bell so you're notified of when I upload videos. And make sure to check out the merch store. There's some cool ZakPak merch on there for you to check out. So, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video.